I'm back. Hi, my friends. This is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And I'm telling you, Jay knows how to party hardy, doesn't she? I become a different person. Look, I'm all in. Look, I really enjoy meeting and having fun, and all the wonderful people that came to our meet and greet was just absolutely wonderful. And I wanted to make sure that I, did a great video so that you could see everyone that came, and it was just wonderful. And Margaret, I'm telling you, I'm so glad she is so down to earth. I mean, we were talking just like we knew each other for a long time. We were finishing each other's sentences. So that made it even better. It wasn't like we didn't have awkward moments where nobody was standing around like, okay, well, we don't know what to say and who, No, everyone was friendly and everyone was outgoing, and it was just exciting. It really was great, exciting to see everyone and to have everyone to participate. And I thank you so much. And so I couldn't wait to get back, because now that was Party Jay. Well, I'm back now. This is Tutorial Jay. And I couldn't get, I had started this shawl before, before we had the meet and greet. Of course, then I had to stop, and then I had to try to get my video ready up and get my son to do all the editing on that. And I give him a hand. He came and he stayed the whole day. And of course, with his camera filming everything, I got a lot more footage, because I'd start talking to people and forget I was supposed to have been filming too. Margaret did the same thing. But we both got enough to share. But, like I say, so many things have happened since. Isn't it amazing? You can go from laughing and having so much fun to just a time of sorrow and weeping. But, but life goes on. And so I had started this shawl. So I thought, I'm going to finish it. And I renamed it. And I just think that you're going to like the pattern that I've used, and you're going to enjoy not only knitting this shawl, but wearing it. And of course, you can use all your colors that you want. So let me just kind of go over a little bit of what the yarn I use. In the last video, I think I did mention this yarn. It's Yarn Bee yarn from Hobby Lobby. It's called Dazzling, and the name of this yarn is Brights, with the S on the end. Brights. Dazzling Brights. And I just fell in love with it when I saw it, because I was trying to imagine what I could make with it. And then, lo and behold, I had one of my viewers kept saying, well, when are you going to do another knitted shawl? And, and I said, well, I want to do one, coming up. But then I had to stop and do the party and do all of that. But once I found this yarn and I found the pattern, and so voila. So this is a beautiful chevron lattice or lace pattern. I'm gonna see if I can pull it over here so you can see it. Oh, I'm filming with my new camera. My family, for my birthday, gave me a new camera. So see, I don't know where the finder is yet. So I'm going to have to keep moving things around and keep looking in it to see. I hope I'm not too close. Let me see if I can. I'm learning how to zoom, so I need to zoom back a little bit. How about that? I don't want to give you vertigo. Okay, that's much better for what I'm showing. So it's a beautiful, in the vein of, if you did Jay's teacher shawl, it's the same style of shawl, where we will start at one end. And I'm going to show you how to take the stitch, add your own extra stitches to make your formula, and then we simply keep increasing up. Start on one end and just keep increasing until it gets as wide as you want, and then you'll go across the back with no increases. Let me check my camera, see how I'm doing. Oh, okay, I'm getting there. Look. oh, Jay might like this new camera after all. It's a much nicer camera, and it's a real video camera. My other camera was just a camera and had the video thing on there, but you had to stop and plug it in every 20 minutes. But anyway, we'll see how this one. But as you can see, this one doesn't have points, but it has soft scallops on the edge. You can barely see them, but there are soft scallops along the edge. And like I say, it's a chevron stitch, you know, chevron, and it's called chevron lattice. And like I say, the same thing. You'll go across up one front, go across your back. Isn't that yarn pretty? Check it again. Oh, I'm doing good. Okay. And then of course you'll have to decrease to go down to the other side. So if you're ready and in the mood for a new stitch, but a old familiar pattern, Jay's teacher shawl in that style, but with a new beautiful lace chevron stitch, then this is the one we're going to do next. I just feel it's the right one to do at this time. So let me clear everything up so I can tell you about the stitch and any supplies you're going to need. And of course we have to make our formula because we don't have a written pattern. Remember, I work out of stitch books. So let me clear it up and we'll be ready to go. Okay, so now I want to get into our pattern and writing up our formula. And one of the first things I want to tell you, I'm not going to do a book review on this book tonight or in this video. I strictly want to just get to the pattern, and then I'm going to do a book review, of course, on some of the books I have from Nikki Epstein. I mean, what a knitting icon. What a fiber icon. Just love her beautiful things. You know, some of them are a little more than what I would probably could use or wear. You know, she has a distinct look to her work. But the basic things are just absolutely wonderful. And so is this book. Now, if you are a collector of books and you want to have a beautiful library, this, of course, is definitely one you need to have in your library by Nikki Epstein. It is just, it's knitting on the edge, like I said, and I'm trying not to do a review right now because I want to do a separate review of some of the, you know, the books I have. I don't have everything, like I say, because some of them are just not the kind of things I would knit or wear. But I always find knowledge, and I just think the work is absolutely just gorgeous. So, out of this book, I'm going to take, like I said, I'll do a complete review a little later. I'm going to take a stitch out of her book, and let's see, you know, I'm working with my new camera, so I'm not sure. Let's see if that's on camera here. I'm not sure how to place it. Okay, I think if I hold it up just to get this tape done, this video done. Okay, so this particular stitch out of this book is on page 72, and it is called Chevron Lattice, the Chevron Lattice stitch. And if you have this book, of course, you'll be able to follow along with me. Like I said, if not, I know you can get this on Amazon. I've not seen it in many stores. It may be in Barnes and Nobles and big name stores, big chains like that, but I'm sure you can get it on Amazon. It is just Jay, don't go into it. I'm gonna wait till I do the review. I just love this book, so I want to tell you all about it. But no, we're gonna stick with the Chevron Lattice. I'm trying to learn to work smarter and a little faster. And this is a 16 row repeat of this pattern, 16 rows to make this pattern. And I don't know if you can see it if I'm holding it in the camera right. I'll check it. But here it is, right there. And that's the pattern we're going to work on the edge of our shawl. And then we're going to fill in some stitches that we want to add. And for her pattern, she is calling a cast on of 15 stitches. 15 stitches will give you this lace here. Well, of course, we're going to have to add something to it in order to make a shawl. So, and if you don't have this one, you might have it in another book. Like I said, a lot of these patterns are in public domain. You can find chevron patterns everywhere, but I'm trying to use books that I have to share with you, so those who have not experienced the amazing freedom and wonderfulness of stitch books, I'm just showing you some of the books and how to use them, how to just take a pattern out of a book and design your own shawl. Now, I'm not an expert and I'm not trying to be a professional. I'm just having fun and sharing with my friends. That's all. So, that's the pattern. This is the book. So now we need to make our formula for our pattern, because we do not have a written pattern. So now to make our formula, we're going to look at what we do have, and then we're going to add what we think we'd like to have. So here we go. First of all, on the original, I've already shown you the yarn that I'm using for my shawl, or I use for my shawl. Yarn Bee Dazzling, and the name is Bright, and that's the yarn. And I bought 3 skeins, but you know, I'd buy at least 2. But if you're going to go larger, go ahead and get 3, because sometimes when you go back, you know, since this yarn has all these different colors, sometimes it just doesn't look the same. Anyway, and I am going to use, or I use a US number 7 circular needles. Or you can use straight or whatever, but I use the US 7. This is a no gauge project really, so I can get out of my, my 3 needle grouping. I can step out of it and work with a needle that's best for this yarn. This is a thinner weight or lighter weight yarn, so I'm using a US 7. Okay, what else do we know about this pattern we just read in the book? Well, she has a cast on to do just the lace part. There's a cast on of 15 stitches. So we know that much. Okay, so now let's start writing our formula, and I'm going to take off this bracelet and I get ready to stitch. Okay, over here, because the pattern, I'm right-handed, so the pattern, the lace is going to be off to the left of the shawl. And so we want to write the pattern. Oops. Pattern. Okay, now we know there's 15 stitches in the pattern. Then we're going to place a marker. Now I need to come up with something that will work for me to help me create this shawl. I'm just going to tell you what I used on mine, and then you can substitute. I'm going to tell you how to increase the size of the shawl, and then you can just sit down and play with the numbers and substitute for yourself. Okay, after we have our 15 stitches for our lace, okay, right here on this side of the marker, I decided to add a row of eyelets. I just thought it'd be pretty to have some pretty little yarn overs, so that I'll know when I'm getting to my lace. So I'll know I'm transitioning from, the regular just knitting. Then I'll have this nice row of eyelet stitches, and then my pattern. And for that row, section, I'm decided on 3 stitches. 3 stitches. And all we're going to do, we're going to do a forgotting stitch. Knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1. That's 3 stitches. Knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1. That will be there. Then the next thing I need, we have to increase. On this shawl, you start out with this first row of work, And then eventually you have to increase so that it widens out. Now, I'm going to tell you my number, and then I'll tell you how you can change the number. I decided this time I wanted 5 stitches. 5 stitches will eventually widen out and become as many stitches as I want. This is the increase and eventually the decrease section right here. This is stockinette. You'll knit on the front, purl on the back in this section. Okay, alright, and then last but not least, I'm at my neck edge over here because I'm right-handed, so here's my neck. And I normally put like maybe 5 stitches. But this lace, when I started working the pattern, this lace is so heavy on this end, the 5 stitches kept rolling under really bad and it just didn't look right. So here I go, taking it out, pulling it out. But that's what you have to do when you're designing things. You know, you have to kind of see something sometimes. You know, you can think about it and you might play around with it, but once you see it, you can tell it instantly if it's going to work. So, right here on this side, I decided for a neck border, for a border at the neck, I'm going to have 10 stitches. I'm going to add 10 stitches. And then once we add all this up, 15 plus 3 plus 5 plus 10 equals, I'm going to cast on 33 stitches to start my shawl. Does that make sense? Now, if you are a smaller person, really slim, and maybe you don't need a shawl, you know, you're not trying to really do a long shoulder shawl or something, then right here in this increase and decrease section, which will be stockinette, you can simply start with the number 3 here. I just like odd numbers. It works better for patterns. Don't ask me why. Like I said, I'm not an expert. But you can simply drop down to 3. If you are a much larger person or taller and you really want the shawl to hang really and drape really well and long over your shoulders, you could go up to 7. You could simply put 3, 7, 10. Or, like I said, smaller person, 3, 3, and 10. And add your numbers up, and that will be the number you'll cast on. Does that make sense? This is the pattern from Nikki Epstein's book. This is what we need to add to her, well, this is her stitch. This is the stitch pattern. This is what we're adding to make our particular project. So that makes sense. The sunrise shawl. So, let me show you the next step. Let me show you the cast on and where we'll go. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. Once you cast on, we're going to, so that you'll know, we're going to knit 2 rows. That's the first thing we'll do. We'll cast on and knit 2 rows. Alright? I will show you the next step. Okay. I had to readjust my camera. I tried to film from my right side and I can't do it. It just made me feel like I was wobbly or something. So, it's very humid, so alright. Trying to knit in the cool of the night. First thing, you're going to need some stitch markers, of course. I suggest a row counter or a sheet or a little tally sheet. It's going to be most important that you know where you are in this pattern. I'm going to add things to each row to help you keep your place, because my part of this is to keep encouraging you and sharing with you that if I can do it and I'm not a professional, and if I can knit this way and make nice things, and I'm here to encourage and to cheer you on and just try to help you, give you as many tips as I can. This is not going to be a mystery. I'm not going to sit back and go, okay, you know, I'll give you a little bit, but I can't tell you all of it. No, I want to encourage you, like I say, only because, like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm just sharing, and I have a lot of fun. I like the things I knit, and, you know, they look great for me. And so far, you seem to be liking them too. So, a row counter would be good, or something to tally. And like I said, I'm going to add as much on to each row as we go. Any kind of little tip that I think will help you to keep your place. The stitch is not really an advanced stitch, but there's going to be a lot going on. You know, we're not working from a pattern. We're working from that one line, our one line formula. This is what you're working from. This is how you're going to remember where you are. By our simple formula, instead of maybe 4 charts, or, you know, going back and forth to a chart, or you know, a couple of pages, or circling, you know, how you, some directions you have to circle. All you're going to do is remember where you are in this formula line. Whatever your numbers are, you know, this is your neck border. Here's our add and decrease section. Here's this little section I'm going to introduce, and here's the lace. And this is what you're going to have somewhere on a little card or piece of paper, so you'll know where you are. So I've already knitted 2 rows. I knitted the first 2 rows. I cast on my number of stitches and I knit 2 rows. And then I'm calling the next row a right side row, which row 1 is a right side. And on this row 1, we're going to add our markers as we go. Now, I'm just walking you through this part. Like I said, I'm trying to learn how to save time and put the time where we need to spend the time. As you can see here, I have 10 stitches, which I just simply do in garter stitch. I knit every row and I put a marker. My formula, I had 10 stitches. I want to knit these 10 stitches on every row. I put a marker there. The next section, you can really see well now that this is the stockinette section, because it's knit on the front and it's purl on the back. Knit on the front, purl on the back. So there I decided 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You may have decided 3, or you may have decided 7. If you have 7 stitches, you know your shawl is going to grow wider quicker. If you have 3, it's going to be more of a narrow shawl. Make sense? Okay, I'm in the middle. I got 5. Right here, can you see that nice row right there? I just thought, well, if I had something to, you know, as you get into the rhythm of this, and then you kind of like, oh man, I don't run past where I need to go. I thought if I had this little section here, this little row of eyelet stitches, it's 3 stitches. In every right side row, you will knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1. You will purl it on the back. Okay, then your last stitches, you cast on, you have 15 stitches for your lace. And row 1 is the right side. Now, the way I like it, if you did follow me on the teacher shawl, I always like to go through the whole pattern one time. There's 16 rows. This is row 1 through 16. I like to go ahead and do that so that I can really see the pattern, so that the first section and the last, when we get all the way around, I keep getting little gnats in here. So the first section has no increase or decreases in it. I just work the pattern, rows 1 through 16, and when eventually I get to the other end, and we're decreasing back down, the last little scallop or little scallop, I will work just like this. No increase, no decrease, just work it plain. So as we get ready to start, we are going to work up this side of the shawl. We will be increasing to as many of these scallops, little scallops, that you want. You can hold it up and kind of see how it looks against your body. That's all you have to do. You just take it, and like I said, they're not really 20 points, but you'll be able to tell. And you're just going to work, and as we work, we're going to be increasing. Can you see the increase section? Right there, the stockinette. You're going to be increasing up to as wide as you want to get up to your shoulders. On this particular shawl, for me, I counted 8. I did 8 of these scallops before I decided I felt it was tall enough or long enough for to my shoulders. Does that make sense? So I did 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I would put a mark, and then I would do. Now on this shawl, on the teacher shawl, we did the same number across. It had points, and the points were really something that you could see, and it was easy to stand, place, and count. So I think I did 12 up, 12 across, and 12 down. So each section, going up, across the back, going down, I had 12. This lace is not pointy, and so it doesn't have a lot of stretch to it. So I did more on my back. So if I did 8 up, and then when I decided that's enough, and I wanted to go across my back with no increases, you're just going to knit the pattern as is without the increases. I did, let's see, maybe 10. Maybe I did 10 of these little scallops, but it was more than the 8. But then to come down, I go back to 8 so that it matches, and then of course the last section I work plain just like I did this one without anything so that they match. That's a mouthful. There's a lot of information. So what do you think of that? Alright, so as you get everything ready, I'm going to have we're going to put the pattern, the rows up on the screen with the little tips that I've put on here. And the next row I'm going to start on is row 1. And on this chevron lattice stitch pattern. And I'm going to walk you one row at a time. But this, since I've already done the first section, this will be our first increase. Alright, see you back. Okay, as we get ready to start, on the screen, the name of this stitch is the chevron lattice stitch. And it requires 15 stitches to do the lace part. Okay, now on the screen we're going to start with row 1. I've already done 1 through 16 one time. Now I'm on the second time around, and this is the round we will start our increases. So on my sample, I guess I could have been a little ahead here. I was listening to what was going on the television and forgot I had to come back up, run back over here. I went and cleaned up my kitchen real quick. Of course, then you can't tell that on the camera because it's just like, okay. But I ran in there and cleaned up my kitchen. Alright, so on my formula, or on yours too, we have 10 neck stitches. Now, you know, of course, this is practice yarn. That's why it's thick and heavy looking. I wanted you to be able to see what I'm doing and see the stitches. You're using the yarn that, you know, on your size 7 needle. Alright, I've done my first 10 stitches. Now I'm going to slide my marker. Now I'm up to the stockinette area where we will increase. And if you're using, I just knit over to the last stitch before the marker. This yarn is so busy, I'm just going to do a simple knit into the front and knit into the back increase. Just a real simple. You know, why waste your time doing something real fancy when you're not going to be, you can't see it in this yarn. So I get to the last stitch before the marker, and I knit simply into the front, and I knit into the back of the stitch, just like that. And now we will have, for me, I should have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now, all right, let me just stop right here. I guess you say, well, Jay, how will I know when to increase? If I'm doing it myself, how will I know when to make my increases and decreases? Well, glad you asked. All right, I just normally, like I said, I'm not a professional, so I don't really, can't tell you oh yeah, this is what you do. Okay, I look at the number of rows that I have in the pattern. And for instance, this has 16 rows. So I think I need at least 3 increases in the 16 rows. And all I simply do, I like to always start, if I can, with row 1. After I've, done it one time, now I'm starting again. So I'd say row 1 would make a good row to increase, as long as I increase on the right side. I ain't smart enough to increase on the wrong side. I might confuse myself. So just make it easy. So row 1 is the right side, so that would be a row I would increase on. And it'll be marked on the string once we start reading through the pattern. And then I would do a couple of rows, and of course, you have your purl rows too. And so then the next increase would be around, say, row 7. That's kind of like, I'm going to work a couple of rows. Row 7 would make a great increase row. So I'd increase on row 7. And then work a few more rows. And then I'd find maybe row 13. So in my sample, in my shawl here that I'm sharing, I'm going to increase and eventually decrease on row 1, row 7, and row 13. And I will have that marked on the screen as we do each row. Also, something else that I decided to do, because you really do have, for some reason, it's not a hard stitch, but there's a lot going on. So at the end of each row, she did not give the stitch count, but I'm giving you a stitch count at the end of each row. That means after you work the row, if you count the stitches, then you know how many stitches you should have. So if you've dropped one, or you miscounted, or you did something wrong, you'd know. Okay, so now getting back to, I just finished, oops, dropped my marker. All right, I just made my first increase on row 1. Now I get up to my little section that I'm adding just to make a separation before I get to my lace section. And on the right side, you will always knit 2 stitches together, just like this. Just knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, and you'll purl it on the back side. Now I'm up to my lace. Yay, I'm finally up to my lace. All right, let's read through row 1. All right, row 1 says, and it is the right side, I'm changing her pattern right here. On her pattern, she starts with a slip stitch. Well, I don't need a slip stitch because I'm adding this, I've got, I don't need a slip stitch, I need a stitch. So row 1 reads, knit 5, yarn over, knit 2 together, and do it 4 times. Yarn over, knit 2. This is an increase row, and eventually it will be a decrease row. When you finish and you complete this row of lace right here, you will have 16 stitches. We started with 15, you will have 16 when you finish. Does that make sense? All right, let's see how it looks. All right, I'm changing her slip stitch into a regular stitch and making it knit 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now yarn over, knit 2 together. Do it 4 times. Yarn over, that was 1, so yarn over, knit 2 together. That's twice, that's 2 times. Yarn over, knit 2 together, That's 3 times. Yarn over, knit 2 together. That's 4 times. And yarn over, knit the last 2 one at a time. That's 1 and 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. You don't have to count each row. I'm just showing you. At the end of the row, in case you lost your place, you can count, and I'm giving you how many stitches you should have at the end. Okay, now we're going to turn the work, and this will be the back side, and you can mark it if you're new and you can't really distinguish. Of course, I think if you're pretty much an average knitter, you'll know this is the back side because here's a stockinette section and it's purl, but you can put a piece of yarn here, a contrasting piece on this side. Alright, now when you turn the work, row 2 in all wrong side rows, you will knit the lace on the wrong side. Then we have to go back into regular normal knitting. So, for instance, I've turned the row. This is row 2. This is the wrong side. So I'm going to knit. This is the lace. So I knit back to the marker. So I'm just knitting back, even though I'm on the wrong side. Okay, and pull a little yarn. I found this yarn up on the shelf there. I thought, why in the world did I buy this yarn? I don't know, it's more like baby yarn or something. Something I bought, so I thought, oh, this will make great practice yarn. It just stands out. Okay, I've knit back all the lace stitches. Alright, now the next section is my little eyelet row, so I slide them. Well, I'm going to put the yarn, bring the yarn in front, because now I go into normal stockinette knitting. Slide the marker, purl 1, remember there's 3 stitches, 2 and 3. Okay, now that brings me up to my regular stockinette section. I slide the marker and I continue to purl. Purl across this section. Alright, I'm up to the last marker, which represents the garter ridge for my neck. So yarn in back, because I'm going to knit these last 10 stitches every row. So yarn in back, and now I knit the last 10 stitches. And that these 10 stitches they give weight to offset the heaviness of the lace edge, and it's a much prettier neck and front. If you look at the pictures, it lays a lot prettier. Okay, and I knit, and there we have it. We have completed row 1, and we have made 1 increase. Okay, and we worked our lace. Now, row 2 is the wrong side, so now we're on row 3. Row 3 reads, knit 6, yarn over, knit 2 together, and do it 4 times. Yarn over and knit 2. Now that's way over here on the lace, so I really didn't have to read that right then. So let me go ahead and go back. Remember, oops, I missed a stitch here. Hold on. Hold your horses. Hold the horses. Okay. So, like I said, I'm on row 3, so let me go across. And then after this, we'll just do Okay, so there's my first 10. As soon as I come to my stockinette section, like I say, right now it's exciting. And it's like, oh man, this is, oh Jay, this, yeah. But after a while, if you do this a while, your mind just becomes like, oh gosh, where am I? So, but as soon as I see that I'm at the stockinette section, I check this row. We are on row 3, and see if it is an increase or if I was doing a decrease. Check the row so that you won't forget to do it. This is not an increase row, so I know that I can just knit all the stitches here on the front. Slide the marker, these 3 stitches, I knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1. Now I'm up to my lace, and let's go. Row 3, it says knit 6, so 1, 2, that's 3, 4, oops, 5 and 6. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, knit 6. Now yarn over, knit 2 together. That's 1. We're going to do it 4 times. Yarn over, knit 2 together. Oops. That's 2. Yarn over, knit 2 together. 3. Yarn over, knit 2 together. And then the last 2 stitches, you yarn over and you knit 1 and 2. We have completed row 3 of this pattern. Okay, it wasn't an increase row or anything. So, of course, the back side, row 4, will be the wrong side. I will see you back at row 5. Okay, so I am up. We're working on row 5, and I'm just coming up now to my stockinette section, and before I leave it, I check. Just, it's kind of like a double check, checking yourself. It is not an increase row, so I simply knit the stitches. I go up to my yarn over row, and I knit 2 stitches together, yarn over, and knit 1. Slide the marker. Now I'm ready to do row 5, to work row 5. Row 5 of the lace reads, knit 7, yarn over, knit 2 together 4 times, yarn over, knit 2. So let's see how this looks. That's 1, that's 2. 6, and this should be 7, 2, 4, 6, 7. Okay, and now I start with yarn over, knit 2 together, and you're going to do it 4 times. That's 1. Yarn over, knit 2 together. That's 2. Yarn over, knit 2 together. That's 3. Yarn over, knit 2 together. That is 4. And then I end the row with a yarn over and knit 1 and knit 2. Okay. That is the end of row 5. Let's just take a count. At the end of row 5, you'd have 18 stitches in the lace section. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 stitches. I know I'm doing just fine. Okay, row 6 is the wrong side. Row 7, I will see you back at row 7, and guess what? Row 7 is an increase row. I marked it on the screen just to make sure you wouldn't forget. What do you think of that? Jay's just doing her part. Alright, see you back at row 7. Okay, I've just finished row 6, which was my wrong side, and now we're up to row 7. And like I said, I'm putting it on the screen. Row 7 is an increase row. So I'm in my stockinette area where I will add my increase. I knit up to the last stitch before the marker. I simply knit into the front and into the back of the stitch. Like I said, on this fabric, it really won't be seen to do anything fancy, just a simple knit into the front and the back. Alright, I'm up to the next section which contains my eyelet row. And like I said, you'll be able to tell instantly if you've made a mistake because you won't have a nice yarn over there. So when I get to this section, I simply knit 2 together, yarn over, and knit the 1 stitch. Now slide the marker, and I'm up to my lace area, row 7, and it reads knit 8, yarn over, knit 2 together, do it 4 times, yarn over, and knit the last 2 stitches. So let's go, because I've double checked, I've added that 1 increase, so I know I'm doing just fine. So we're going to knit 8. Okay, and let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. All right, now the next thing is to yarn over and knit 2 stitches together and repeat that 4 times. So that's 1. Yarn over, knit 2 together, that's 2. Yarn over, knit 2 together, that's 3. 1 more, yarn over, knit 2 together, that is 4. And to end the row, you yarn over and knit the last 2 stitches, 1 and 2. And voila, we are done with row 7. And if you're not sure, if yours didn't come out to end correctly, you can take account of the stitches because I gave you the stitch count at the end of the lace section. So you should have 19, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 1 is 19. So you will turn the work, and row 8, of course, is the wrong side. I will see you back at row 9, and if you notice, this is really kind of the longest row. This is going to set in the point, the row 7 we just finished. You see, it's the longest point on the lace stitch. Now we're going to start, when I come back on row 9, we're going to start the downward or the decrease side of this lace. Not the decrease, we're not talking about the decrease of the shawl, just because it is a chevron. It goes up and in, up or out and in. And so we'll start the opposite. So I'll see you back at row 9. Isn't it looking pretty? Now, like I said, even on this really thick yarn, you know, this is just really practice yarn, but yeah, that could be really pretty, just be real heavy. I guess it could be a winter shawl. Okay, see you back. Watch your yarn overs. Well, like I said, my family bought me a new camera. It's a real camera to film. I think it goes. It can go as far as two, maybe 2.5 hours. So not just a camera where I have to stop every 20 minutes and plug it up and do all that. So I'm trying to get it. So I hope this is coming out good. Of course, I keep checking it, but until I really see it all together, you know, once he edited everything and it's all together in one video, then I can see, you know, my places for improvement. So hang in there with me. Okay, I finished row 8, now I'm on row 9. Row 9 is not an increased row or anything, so I just knit right on up till I get to the lace section. So slide my mark, I'm up to my eyelet row here, so I'm going to knit these 2 stitches together. I'm going to do a yarn over and knit that 1 stitch. Now I slide the mark and I'm up to, like I said, the lace on row 9. And as I was trying to say, I got all tongue-tied or twisted here. The chevron goes out and in, out and in. So now we're going, row 9 is a transition, and now we're going to start in, and I'll show you how it goes. Let's read row 9 of our pattern. It says knit 6, knit 2 together, that's different, yarn over, knit 2 together 5 times, then knit the last stitch. So, oh, you got to wake up now. You got to wake up and kind of pay attention to where you are. That's why, you know, you need a row count or some way to just kind of pay attention to where you are. Or just, you know, like say on the screen. Alright, so I'm supposed to knit 6. So 2, 4, 6. I've knit my 6. Now, immediately I knit 2 together. There was no yarn over anything, just simply knit 2 together. So I do that. Now I start the yarn over sequence. Yarn over, knit 2 together. That's 1. I got to do it 5 times, remember? That's 1. Yarn over, knit 2 together. That's 2. Yarn over, knit 2 together. That's 3. Yarn over, knit 2 together, keep it loose. That's 4. 1 more, yarn over, knit 2 together, and there is no yarn over at the last, so you simply knit the last stitch. And this will keep you awake, because I'm telling you, if you're going to start making mistakes, it's going to be when you get to row 9. You'll just be in the rhythm of 1 through 8, and then row 9 all the way down to the end, 15, has a different rhythm. Samba, salsa, samba, I don't know. So, anyway, so that is row 9, and you will have, let's see, let's just check it. Now you're dropping back down to 18 stitches, so let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 stitches. Row 7 was 19, so now I'm dropping back down as we go back in. Does that make sense? Okay, that is row 9. Row 10, of course, is the wrong side. I will see you back at row 11. We're getting to the end. I'm telling you, we're getting to the end. Row 11. Let me just check. No, it's not an increase row or anything. So I'll see you back at row 11. Okay, so I finished row 10. So now I'm on row 11. It is not an increase row, so I can knit all the way over to my lace. So I'm coming up to my eyelet row. I slide the marker and knit the 2 stitches together. I do a yarn over and knit that 1 stitch. Now I slide the marker, check my camera, okay. Let's see if I need to pull up a little bit, just see if I like this little zoom on it because you can just barely tap it. Okay, so row 11 reads knit 5, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, and do it 5 times, and knit the last stitch. You see how we're starting the down slope of this chevron stitch. So knit 5, oops, slide the marker, I did that. Now knit 5, that's 3, that's 4, and here's 5. Now it says knit 2 together, just knit 2 stitches together. Now yarn over and knit 2 stitches together 5 times. Yarn over, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, This is 4. Whoops. And that's 5. And knit the last stitch. Okay. It's just that simple. And look. Isn't that pretty? Alright. So, of course, row 12 is the wrong side. Row 13, I'll see you back, and it is an increase row. We're almost to the end of this. Now, what do you think? Isn't that pretty? See you back at row 13. Okay, so I'm up to row 13, and I look at my pattern, and it's on the screen. This is an increase row. So I knit up to my increase section, which is right here. I knit up to the last stitch, and of course I knit into the front and just knit into the back of the stitch. Alright, that's one thing done. Slide the marker. Now my eyelet row, I simply knit 2 together. Oops, I think I'm tangled up here a little bit. Knit 2 together, yarn over, and knit 1 stitch. Now I am up to my lace area, and row 13 reads knit 4, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, and repeat 5 times, and knit the last stitch. Okay, so now 1, 2, 3, and 4. Goes a little faster when you're kind of going downhill. Okay, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now knit 2 together, just like that, and yarn over, knit 2 together, and you repeat it 5 times. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, this is 4, 1 more, yarn over, and knit 2, that's 5, and you'll have 1 stitch left, and you simply knit that stitch. Okay, now row 14, of course, is the wrong side, so I'm going to see if I can just go ahead and do this on camera. Switch it on and off. It just takes, I think it takes more time to line everything back up. So let me just see. So of course when I turn the work, every time I turn the work, I knit the lace stitches. See, I'm just knitting back. Okay, I'm knitting across the lace stitches even though I'm on the wrong side. And I think it's a lot quicker to just do it like this. Okay. Since, like I said, I got a new camera, so I don't have to worry about it cutting off before I'm done. Okay, I'm up to the eyelet section. I put the yarn in front because remember, that's just part of regular knitting. Slide the marker. Now purl those 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3. And now I'm up to my regular stockinette area, so I slide that marker and I purl across all of these stitches. Okay, just like that. Now, at the end, I have my 10 neck edge stitches right there. So yarn needs to go in back, slide the marker, and these stitches I will knit on every row, just like we've been doing. Oh, hopefully you've been doing. Okay, so this is row 14, the wrong side of our work. Row 15, as you get across will be our last pattern row, and then we will have row 16, which will be the last wrong side. So I'll see you back, and then we'll talk and go through some things so that you can continue to knit your shawl. All right, see you back in just a minute. Okay, I'm up to the last actual pattern row, row 15, and it is not an increase or anything, so I can just knit right on across. As I come up to my eyelet row, right there, those 3 stitches, I knit 2 together, yarn over and knit 1, and slide my marker, and row 15 reads knit 3, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together 5 times, and knit the last stitch. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then I knit 2 together. Now we start the sequence. Yarn over, knit 2 together, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, this is 4, 1 more, this is 5, and I knit the last stitch. And just for fun, we'll take a count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 1 is 15. Voila! But you have to include row 16, so simply turn the work. And as soon as you turn the work, you knit the lace stitches. Just knit to the first marker. Whoops. And here I come to that first marker. That ends the lace stitches. So now I have to go back into regular knitting. And these stitches I need to purl, so I bring the yarn in front. Then I slide my marker and I purl the first 3 stitches here in this section right there. Alright, then the next section I need to slide the marker and purl all the stitches there. And pull a little more yarn. Here we go. Getting close to the neck or my garter edge. Okay, I'm up to my last 10 garter stitches. So you knit on every row, so yarn in back, then slide the marker and knit across to end this row, and 16 rows, 1 through 16. I just said 16. 1 through 16. Okay, here we go. And you should still have the 15 stitches on your lace, just like when you start at row 1, and you can see the small scallops pop out. They're not as pointy as the point like the teacher shawl. They just form this nice little soft scallop. And then plus you can see increases as this area will grow. This area stays nice and smooth and goes up because it will eventually go around your neck. Now, let's talk. Alright, for this shawl, like I said, you can change up your numbers however you want. Once you're working from your formula. Okay, I decided that I only needed 8 of these little scallops to go up to where I want. I didn't want it as long as my teacher shawl, and so I only did 8 of these scallops. That's what I counted to stay in. In fact, let me get the original. Okay, I counted. See if this is on camera now. Check my camera, see if I need to back out. Now see, I need to back out. I don't want to make you sick. There we go. Okay, Jay, all right. Okay, so just looking at the original, all right, and I did, say for me, 8 up to where I wanted to say, okay, I'm at the top of my shoulders, and you can see how it increased out, and you can see my nice garter ridge, because this is softer yarn, and it's much softer, and it looks much prettier than my practice yarn. Isn't that pretty? Okay. Then when you get to the however many scallops you want, if you're a tall person, you may have to go 10. You may have to go whatever the number. You can pick. Whatever number, the last one you want to do, that will be at the top of your shoulders, you will mark it with a marker. Just like that. Put yourself a marker. Now you will start the back. The back will have no increase or no decrease. You will simply work the pattern as it is written on the screen with no increases or no decreases, and it will go really nice and fast because you're not having to worry about anything. And by then you'll have the rhythm of the lace. Now, for instance, I said I did 8 and then maybe 10 across the back, because you can stop and hold this up to your shoulders and just kind of measure across. But I suggest, this lace isn't very stretchy, and you know, you forget to say things that you're just used to. If I did 10, then what I like to do is go ahead and do 1 extra repeat and make it an odd number, say 11. That way you always have a center back. If you want to put a tag or a little cute name or some kind of little something. But you'll always know where the center back is, because you'll have one extra of these little scallops to say, this is the center back, this one right here. You know, you don't have to mark it, but you know, you'll put it in the count. So if I went up 8 for my back, if I saw that 10 was going to work nice going across my back, I'd go ahead and do 1 extra to make it 11. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense? Then you'd mark that, you'd get over all the way across, and then you're going to take a marker and you'll mark the last scallop of the back. Then you start the downward trail, and I will see you back, and we'll just kind of, I'm not going to work the whole thing downward, but just to make sure you're on course. And the decrease is simply knit 2 together. Get to 2 stitches before the marker and just knit 2 together, and then go right into the lace. But I will see you back as we start a little downward trend here, and then I just want to show you how to finish it up at the very end. So you got a lot of knitting to do. And it's really pretty, and you're gonna really enjoy this pattern. And then I'm going to have a surprise. Sometimes, like I say, I'll work a pattern. Sometimes if I feel like I'm not done with it, or I see something else I could do with the same pattern, then that's what I like to do. But it won't be on this video. We're going to finish this one, then I will share with you. Okay, I'll see you back as we get ready to decrease. Remember, the back is just straight. Enjoy! Go get you a nice glass of, look, this is going to be a long process. There's a lot you can just do. Oh, you can catch up on your YouTube watching. You can, you can even, I used to go to the park and walk, put this in a bag and just walk, because once the back is so simple, you don't have to worry about increases or decreases. You can do a lot of things. Going to the doctor's office, you can work on the back. Anywhere that you can kind of sit, you can work on the back till we start to decrease. All right, see you back. Okay. Well, of course, I didn't have time. I can't repeat the whole, knit the whole project. This is just my little sample. So I have, I'm pretending now that I have increased up as many scallops as I want. I have gone across the back with no increases or decreases. I have decreased down to, if I went up 8, I go down to the 7th scallop going in the decrease, remember? And then I have to, as we started at the beginning, I knit the whole pattern one more time with no increases or no decreases, so I have a nice edge. And so I have to have that on the opposite side. So as I come down to number 7, you know, and I have one last scallop to make, this is where I'd end. I'd knit 16, the 16 rows as it is written, with no increases or decreases. So now I'm pretending that I have done that. And I am coming up, I'm going to work on row 15 of the pattern. And like I said, I'm pretending like I'm at the at the opposite end now. I've done everything I need to do, and I've got a beautiful long shawl, and I'm coming. And let me just say this. If, like I said, look, knit happens. If you're new, even if you're not new, when you get down and you see down to row 15 or 16, and you say, oh, I've done all my decrease, but Jay, I think I wind up with one stitch too many or something. Remember, I started with 5, so you hopefully will go back down to 5. Or if you started with 3, or if you started with 7. But if you see that somewhere along the line, I kept falling asleep. I was watching tennis, you know. I was watching all the tennis matches. Okay, so look, it's just yarn, people. It is just yarn. So you say, oh, I had one stitch too many. Just knit 2 together somewhere in that little, in that stockinette section. All you want to do is try to get back down to the same number as when you started on this end. Just so they will look, you know, they'll match as much as possible. Okay? I am not a fretful knitter or a crocheter. I'm enjoying myself. So many other things in life can go wrong, people. This is just yarn. So, I started with 5, so over here I finagle my way and I'm down to 5. And I see that I am on row 15, and I want to, so I can show you how to end row 16. So on row 15 again, it says knit 3. Okay. Then I knit 2 together. Then yarn over, knit 2 together, and I got to repeat this 5 times. Yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together. One more, yarn over, knit 2 together, and knit that last stitch. So, in a perfect world, I would have knitted this again, and I am on row, I ended on this side now. I've come down, and now I'm ready to work row 16. I'm ready to end it. And I want to show you how I decided to end it to make it kind of match the beginning side, this cast on side, as much as possible. You know, we that knit and just enjoy it, you know, I'm not in the business, so it's not important to me to try to, you know, say you something or do all that. I just want you to enjoy it, and I don't want new people or people who are really wanting to give something different a try to worry about little things that just don't make, you know, it just doesn't make a lot of, you know, don't add problems. You know, like I say, if you come out with maybe 1 stitch too many or 2 stitches, just knit 2 together. The object of it is to understand what you're doing. You learn from mistakes. That's how I learned how to do this. I didn't have anybody say, oh yeah, come on over here, we're teaching how to knit from stitch books. No, I had to learn from my mistakes. And then once I made enough mistakes, then I started like, okay, I see that now. Now I don't do that again now. And that's how I'm sharing it with you. So, of course, row 16. is the last row of the pattern, and of course when you turn the work, you're going to knit the lace stitches, right? Well, if my hands weren't so sweaty, I think it must be 100 degrees today. No matter how much I drink, it doesn't seem to come out as much. I guess I'm eating too much salt. I don't add salt. And I do my best to avoid foods with a lot of salt, so I don't eat out a lot like my husband. He loves to eat out, which is, hey, great for me. I don't have to cook that much. But I do not, because I can't control the salt. But I'm telling you, I keep drinking and drinking water. Learned that from my friend Judy. She was she'd drink all the time, water and something. She always had a cup in her hand. Okay, so I'm knitting across the lace stitches and yarn in front. Now I have to, all right, see, I was going to make a mistake talking, Jay. All right, this is when you get to the very end and you're on row 16. I knit across the lace stitches, and normally the next thing we would do is bring the yarn in front and purl. Well, I want you to keep the yarn in back, and we're going to knit off all the stitches. On row 16, knit all the stitches off. You're knitting on the wrong side of this shawl, and we're going to knit every stitch, not just the lace stitches, but all the ones we were purling before and everything. Just knit all the way across. I could have dropped, in fact, you could even drop your markers. I could have dropped my markers because I'm done. When I get to, let me get to the, so row 16 at the very end, opposite end of the shawl, you've done all your decreases. You've done rows 1 through 16 one more time with no more decreases or anything, just following the pattern. You knit all the way across row 16, turn the work, and then we're simply just going to bind off in knit on when you turn the work. So now this is your bind off row, and you just simply turn the work and just start binding off one stitch at a time. Reach back, lift it over. Knit a stitch, reach back, lift it over. Oops, don't drop it though. Don't drop it like I just did. Oh crap, there. Oh, here we go. Oh, Jay was, I forgot I was on camera, all right. Okay, it's just yarn, Jay, it's just yarn. All right, so I'm binding off. And I won't go all the way to the end. Man, my hands are so sweaty. I can't even hold the yarn. Oh. Gosh, it's so hot. Okay, let's see, can I at least get a few more? I can't even make the yarn slide. My hands are so humid. Alright, I could have dropped the markers on the row before. I just want to get over a little bit just so that we can kind of see a little bit. But I wanted to make sure I got this on camera, that I had to figure out how to make this end look at least like it matched the first, you know. So I drop those markers and I just keep binding off. Okay, I think I'll just stop now. Okay, let's see what we have. And then this end would look more compatible with the opposite end. Once you, like I said, it's hard to see on my little sample. And where's my, oh, I don't even have the original over here. I'll have to go get it. So when you get done, and then of course all this will be bound off and it will stretch out just right. Now, some of you have asked me about, well, I'm gonna just pull this out. I'm done. This is just a sample. I'm just gonna pull it out, pull my needle out, just so I can do it. All right. Since this is acrylic yarn, I don't do a whole lot of blocking. You know, I don't really work with a lot of wool. I don't think I'm allergic to it. I just don't like the feel of it. I've got wool, some wool yarns. In fact, I got quite a bit. Not as much as I have acrylic, but so I will use some, and I want to make some, but it has this feeling to me. I don't know what it is. That's just me. And I'm just used to acrylic because back in the day that, you know, we had acrylic. And you just learn to deal with it. So you can wet block. That's where you actually soak it in some cold water and then put it on a towel and roll it and then stretch it out. And you can pin. You can actually pin your little scallops out if you'd like to get them to come out a little more. They're not points, but they're like little scallops. I hope I'm on camera. Can you see that? Let me just see. Yeah, okay. You can do that. I normally just take mine to my ironing. I've done this before, I think. My ironing space and my little ironing pad, and then I have like a cotton dinner napkin. You know, it's kind of thin, or you can do a pillowcase. Pillowcase works great. If you got an old pillowcase, one that your kids have messed up or something. I lay that on top, and then I just lightly steam over the pillowcase. I don't press and iron. I just lightly steam, and then I lift up the pillowcase and I kind of manipulate or pull out the scallops. See how they'll come out? And I lay the pillowcase back and I lightly steam. But I love to see my texture. That's just me. So like I said, I'm not a professional, and I can't. You do whatever you're used to or whatever you have been shown to do. But I lightly steam. I'm not ironing my actual knit. It's just lightly steaming over a pillowcase or a cotton dinner napkin. And it's always on the wrong side. Then, that's all there is. And you see the shawl from the pictures, and you see the pretty scallop. This is what we're looking at. The pretty scallop edge, and how pretty it is. And thanks to Nikki Epstein, we just took that stitch she had and we turned it into our own project. Isn't that pretty? Now I told you I had this little surprise. Okay, this is going to give you a big laugh. So, you know, I like a little piece of jewelry or some kind of little accessory. So I wanted something new. I didn't want the same old rose and then my other little flowers. So I love to watch, there's a YouTube channel I discovered years ago, like one night, just maybe I was bored and I was watching something. And let's see if I can get this channel right. Maybe I have to add it in the notes or something. But I think his name is JD, and I think his YouTube channel is All Tied Up. No. Ties, oh gosh. But he does Celtic knots. You know, people that do knots. And I'll put it on the bottom. I just looked at it and then I can't even remember the name of it. But anyway, I thought, oh man, I'd love to try a Celtic knot. That would make a pretty piece of jewelry. You know, a little accessory. So here I go. So I got my yarn out, the same yarn from the shawl, and I sat down and I cast on 5 stitches, and I did an I-cord. And I mean, I did a long I-cord, about 4 feet long. I mean, it was long. I just sat there watching television and I did an I-cord. So then I turned back on his channel to see if I could figure out, you know, how to watch him, because I was going to, let you know where I got the idea from. See, he doesn't even know he's helping seniors. And I started, and I slowly, you can do the little bottom pictures out there, and I said, okay, now he wrapped that, and he did this, and then he looped that through, then he looped under, then he looped. Mine was such a mess. I thought, oh, this is terrible. I could not get it. I just could not get it. I mean, his presentation is excellent. I mean, you know, another guy or a young person probably catch on real quick. I just got so befuddled. I just said, oh man, but I wasted my time making this long I cord, 4 feet. So I was determined to make something. So I sat there and I just tied a bunch of knots and wrapped and tied, and I just made it up. And it's not a Celtic knot. It's a Jay's knot. I hated it through all that time I wasted making this long I cord. So I put a button in the center, put a little pin back on the back with a little hot glue, and I stuck some beads hanging down. So that was the cute little thing you see. So maybe if I don't think I'm going to try the Celtic knot. I may try some of Jay's knots. Jay may come up with a knot of her own. You know, something that I can actually show you how to do. I would never be able to show how to do that Celtic knot. But you can drop on over there I'll put it in, like I say, I'll put it in the notes. And you can see, or you know, there's so many on there, but his name is JD. And he just has this great way. I love the way, when you come on, he has his hands like this, and then he says, I mean, it's just like, oh man, it's just cool. He's just real cool. I don't know anything else about him. That's all I know is just I found him a long time ago and put him in, you know how you just put him in your category, forget about it. Well, when I was looking at how to figure out how to make this little accessory, he popped up again, and I said, oh yeah, I remember him, let me see. But people, I can't do it. So I'm going to design something of my own, and I'll just call it Jay's Knot. Because it was a mess. But I salvaged it enough to take the pictures with my shawl. I was smart enough not to give up, and that's what I'm trying to get. It doesn't matter. You'll learn from your mistakes, people. I remember, you know, when you were little in school, trying to just write your name, trying to, you know, back in the day we did cursor writing. You know, they don't do cursor right now. I mean, but how many times that we practiced writing the A and then hooking it with the B, then the C. Well, I tried to knot, and I tried to follow him on YouTube. I couldn't. So that's where it came from. Giving credit where credit is due. I'll put his name, the correct name, at the end, you know, in the notes. But I'll just come up with something, and I'll at least I did have an accessory to take with my picture, and that's what I want to share with you. See? But it was all in fun. Hey, there's too many other things going on. I can't cry over yarn. We need to save our tears, people. Give a laugh or two. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you give this shawl a try. It really is pretty. The next video is going to be along the same line, because sometimes when I'm working a stitch, and if I love the stitch, and for some reason I could just work Nikki Epstein's stitch out of the book just so great. I don't know, it just worked real good for me, so I wanted to try something else. So I'm working on another project, so I think you will like it just as well. It is really going to be pretty. And the whole presentation, I got it all. Wait till you see the next, after you work this one, give me a few days. Now, some of you people that can't give me enough time, look, Jay's working as fast and as hard as she can. I'm all tied up in knots. But don't you be tied up in knots, because I need you back, and I need you to help me, and I need you to well, first of all, thank you for all your support, your views. Thank you for your wonderful comments. And, you know, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I could share this with you. No strings attached. And don't be tied up in knots. Until we see each other again, this is Jay. This is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. See ya!